Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from Res412SAMG9 and it says boyfriend's mum called my blind brother 25 male excess baggage. I, 28 female, called her a piece of shit. And I think you've already got it from the title, but just a warning before we do get into the actual story, there is ableism within the story as well. My brother is blind, has been since birth, and he lives with me. Not that he needs someone to take care of him, just living with me makes his life much easier, and I like it this way. He's pretty independent and has a great job and a great future. I'm proud of him big time. Last month, we went to visit our parents back in our home country. We live in Europe, but we are from East Asia. My boyfriend is from here. So, on the way back, my parents filled our luggages with stuff, gifts, food, etc. At the airport, we had to pay some excess baggage charges. Last night, I was at my boyfriend's parents and I was chatting with his parents and sister. Boyfriend wasn't in the room when this all happened, so he didn't say anything firsthand. They asked about my trip and all. I said it was all good except that we had to pay a lot of excess baggage, which was unexpected. She started laughing, which made everyone wonder. Boyfriend's dad asked, what's so funny? She said that she just can't stop appreciating the irony that excess baggage had to pay for excess baggage. I didn't get it at first. Nobody did. But she clarified that your brother is like an excess baggage on you. You took him on a trip and had to pay excess baggage on the excess baggage as well. It's like double dipping, just the other way around. I wanted to punch her in the face but restrained myself. Just told her that she's a piece of shit. Apologized to the sister and dad and came out. Texted my boyfriend that I had to leave and we'll talk tomorrow. He came out and we talked a bit about what happened. He offered to go back in there and try to sort things out, but I refused. I told him that he's heard my side, so go in there and hear them out as well, and we'll talk about it again tomorrow. We haven't talked since, but we will tonight. I don't know where to go from here and need ideas. Knowing him, I guess he will just suggest some way to sort things out and make peace. But I don't think I'd want that, even if she agrees to apologize. Edit. She just posted a Facebook status update saying, my son's girlfriend called me a piece of shit because she disagreed with how I described what happened on a trip. Edit 2. My brother and I went to visit our parents. My boyfriend didn't come with us. It wasn't like my brother tagged along on a trip that I took with my boyfriend. And then we have an update, which we'll cover in a moment, but, you know, when people turn to Facebook to try and paint themselves in a good light, my first thought is always just like call them out on this, because anyone looking at that absolute vile shit she just spewed, put it on Facebook under her post and say, no, actually, this is what happened on the trip. This is what she said, quoting it. You watch that post get deleted as quick as possible. Opie was quoting someone. They said, that said, what the fuck is with boyfriend's mum? Is she usually like this? Or was it a horrible, horrible joke? I really hope the latter. Has boyfriend's mum met your brother? Opie says, she's met him a few times. She doesn't know him though. I don't think they've spoken beyond a few words. It really did not strike me as a bad joke. I mean, if it was, she could have said so when she saw I was getting angry. In the past, she's made comments like, oh, poor you. I don't think many people agree to something like that. This made me think it wasn't a joke at all. She really thinks this way. Stephosaurus says, forgive my cultural stupidity. If I am wrong, and please correct me if I am, but isn't it very common in Asian culture for the children to take on the role of total caregiver to their parents as they age? So if that's the case, what would that make her eventually? Opie says, she isn't Asian. I am. My boyfriend's family are Europeans. OP when asked where they are from and will they make amends. OP says they're from Spain but live in the UK. In quotes, do you feel like you even want to make amends or has that ship sailed? OP says, this is what she really thinks, so even if she apologizes, I don't think that I will be in good faith. OP when asked if the boyfriend's mother said it because the brother is blind. OP says, I'm sure she said it because she believes he is a useless person. This isn't the first time she's made comments that imply the same thing. Quoting, would you have been so offended if your brother lived with you, wasn't blind, and still tagged along on your trip? OP says he didn't tag along on our trip, My brother and I went to see our parents. And OP is already hinting at what direction this is going to go with, she said boyfriend, knowing him, will suggest a way to sort things out and keep the peace. And, there is no peace to be kept here. When someone says something as toxic as that, I just don't see a way of coming back from it. Absolutely vile. But OP did update the post and said, okay, this isn't good. In case you missed it, yesterday she posted a message on Facebook, explained in an edit in yesterday's post. So I talked to my boyfriend last night. He acted as I suspected he will. He suggested that it was a moment of madness. She started it and I responded. We're both at fault and we can both apologize and move on from this. Sorry, no way after a Facebook post. We had a long discussion. He doesn't want to take a side. All of these are besides the fact that she doesn't even want to apologize. I'm very disappointed in him. His dad called me yesterday as well, apologized for the mum's comment and said that she wasn't speaking on behalf of everyone there, and that they found her comments to be very inconsiderate as well. I apologized to the dad for the way I reacted, but he said it wasn't necessary. His sister called as well. She said it's not the first time she's making comments like that about disabled people, and said she's ashamed. I decided not to engage in a social media piss war and stayed out. But while the mum's friends were commenting like, the young don't know respect these days, the sister commented that, Mum, you left out what you said to her first, kind of proving her point. Please put this down and stop. A few hours later, the post was gone. So yeah, I'm disappointed in my boyfriend. If he had the balls of his sister, he'd be great, but sadly he doesn't. His dad and sister stood up to the mum and he didn't. I never make a decision impulsively, so I didn't break up with him, although I'm leaning towards that decision. I just need to think, and any advice on this is also very welcome. TLDR, his dad and sister took my side and apologized for her behavior. Boyfriend doesn't want to take a side. I'm disappointed. Someone said to OP on the back of this, you said your boyfriend acted as you suspect he would. Has something like this happened before? OP replied saying, he always believes in keeping the peace between people and finding compromises to work things out no matter what. Diana Prince says, in that case, I think you explained to him in no uncertain terms how much his mother hurt you and how much he hurt you by not sticking up for you. Let him know that when he said nothing, it was as good as agreeing with her. Maybe, just maybe, he'll see where he's gone wrong and change, but if not, I guess you have your answer. His reaction to this doesn't seem much about keeping the peace as being scared to stand up to someone. There's a big difference between those two things. Keeping the peace would have been, Mum, come on, that's out of line and you know it. Apologize so we can all get past this. Not silence. OP says, I've done that. He says, I see what you're getting at, but to make things right, you both need to get together and agree that this was a moment of madness and won't happen again. Well, let's face it, this wasn't a moment of madness. She went onto Facebook to basically try and call out OP and make OP look like the bad person in this situation after she said something as awful as she did. And the boyfriend trying to continue to keep the peace is just pretty much going to kill that relationship off right away. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. Now our next story comes from the Am I Wrong subreddit from a deleted user and says, am I wrong demanding my boyfriend not pay for his brother and his partner's portion of the family cruise? Hello all, I'd like to first state that my boyfriend gave me full permission to post this as long as I didn't get too specific. But we're in a sticky situation. I apologize for the long post, so buckle in and get a snack because this is a doozy. I love a doozy. Here's the context you need to know before we get into the problem. 1. My boyfriend Dean, 25 male, and I, 23 female, are pretty well off in the money aspect. Dean has some money invested from a settlement he was a part of years ago and has taken me on trips multiple times in our relationship. Dean, his brother Sam, 21 male, and Sam's partner Jessica, 20 non-binary, are all going to graduate around the same time from different schools early next year. So the family decided to have a big celebration together. We decided on a Disney cruise because Jessica cannot go on any other cruises because they make them sick. Disney is the only one where they don't get sick, supposedly. 3. My boyfriend asked for my parents' blessing to propose to me a few days ago, and they said yes. 4. Dean and I have been dating for about the same time as Sam and Jessica, but Jessica really wants to get engaged now. If it was up to Jessica, they would have been engaged before they had been dating for a year. 5. Jessica and Sam are currently in university right now and work in fast food, and do not have a lot of savings already. Now, I've never liked Jessica. I really like Sam. He seems like a talented and bright young man that I believe will go far in life. I've met the two about 5 or 6 times, and the first time I met Jessica, they used their autism to cut people in line for a ride at Disney, saying they were special needs. So right off the bat, I saw red flags as they were hitting their face rapidly while cutting people in one to get to the front. Most time my boyfriend and I spent with Jessica and Sam was when we all went to a family reunion, for Dean and Sam's side of the family. We all stayed in one house for a week and were in close quarters, and by the end of the trip, I had walking pneumonia, and Dean had a fever of 102, and many others, including Sam, were sick. Due to the close quarters and the sickness, I believe this is where everyone saw Jessica's true colors. Jessica often got upset when they didn't get their way or were outvoted in an activity they wanted to do. They would storm off, and Sam would have to leave the family and calm them down for at least a couple of hours. I would say within the week, this happened 3 or 4 times. I noticed that while Jessica and Sam would play fight or argue, Jessica would hit Sam hard. Sam is very tall and pretty fit, and Jessica is barely 5 feet, so I don't think he was actually hurt by it, but I was shocked when I saw it the first couple of times. I even said to Jessica after they hit Sam, "Dude, when you hit him, I flinch." They just laughed it off. During this trip, Jessica began to be ruder and ruder to my boyfriend. At first, it was subtle eye rolls when he spoke. He tends to over-explain things, which I like because I overthink. Then it was snarky remarks that graduated to just snapping at him. I spoke to Dean and his mum about what I was noticing after a couple of days into the trip. Sam and Dean's mum said they saw all of my concerns, but Dean, God bless that man, said he hadn't noticed at all of the meanness towards him. We didn't know how to approach the subject because of the awkwardness of the situation. By the end of the trip, we were all at the airport for the flight home. A lot of us were miserable with how ill we were, but Jessica only spoke to Dean in the rudest and snarky way possible. Dean had asked me not to say anything to them since I tend to protect those I love fiercely and often loudly. Lol. Now, fast forward to last night. Dean came home with a visible chip on his shoulder, and when I asked what was wrong, he told me I had to stay calm. Apparently Sam and Jessica had assumed that for the graduation cruise, Dean would be paying for their portion amounting to $6,000 without any contribution from them whatsoever. Dean and his mother have no idea where they got this from. Once Dean had said we could all split a room in a concierge suite, but after the family trip we decided it was not a good idea. This is the only thing I can think of how Jessica and Sam could be confused on why Dean would pay for them. Dean proceeded to tell me that Sam told him and their mother that he and Jessica would not be able to go if Dean wouldn't pay. My heart broke, as Dean said that he could pay for Sam and Jessica and started to plan it out loud when I stopped him. I told him I could see maybe paying for his little brother. I could understand if I was being generous, but I refused to let him pay for Jessica, given how poorly they treated him without apology. He said he wasn't sure how to handle the situation, so we decided to go to dinner. My beautiful, kind, warm, generous boyfriend, the absolute love of my life whom I will marry, took me out on a date shopping and then to a nice dinner. While at dinner I could tell something was still off. So when I asked, he said that there was something else related to the proposal. After some loving, prying and promising not to curb stomp anyone, he finally told me. Dean had called his brother a couple of weeks ago and shared that he was going to propose to me and was throwing around ideas. Dean told Sam that one of his ideas was proposing to me on the cruise on the first day. Dean said he was going to surprise me with my mom and dad being there, and the trip would be a bigger celebration. So sweet. I was tearing up when he was explaining. He assured his brother that it would just be a bigger celebration and not overshadow their collective achievements. Sam told Dean in a very respectful way that he wouldn't really be comfortable with that because he thought it would overshadow all of them graduating. Dean said he understood, and that was that. Then Jessica decides to message Dean separately. This message was a mammoth of text. So I will sum up the demands Jessica made, and please keep in mind that when all this transpired, both of them thought that Dean was paying for their entire 7-day cruise. They said that Sam had told them about the call, and they needed to give their opinion on the matter. If Dean were to propose, it would need to be on the last days because this cruise is meant for the 3 of them to graduate. And even when Dean promised it would be a celebration for all of them, they didn't believe him. Especially if he were to invite my parents, since they would only be there for me. They called Dean unkind for changing the intention of the cruise. Jessica says they wanted their mum there. News to us, by the way, and Jessica would tell their mum to stop saving for the trip because it's unfair to ask her to pay thousands of dollars thinking she's celebrating her daughter and her daughter's boyfriend, and instead celebrating a proposal of 2 people she's not particularly close with. She then accuses Dean of making the entire trip about him instead of his brother, and cemented it would only come if it was about them graduating. Again, that long-ass thing was a summary. We're not sure if Sam knows Jessica sent the message or what is even going on because this entire thing is insane. Dean is hurt and confused about why his brother would treat him like a bank, and also confused why he lets his partner treat his brother this way. So, am I the arsehole for telling my boyfriend not to pay for Jessica on the cruise? I'm on the fence about it, even for Sam paying. TLDR, my boyfriend's brother's partner is demanding that my boyfriend pay $6,000 for a graduation cruise for 7 days. And also demanded that he can't propose to me during that cruise because the focus would be all on them. Due to their entitlement and extreme lack of kindness on their end, I told my boyfriend won't pay for them at all, and I'm standing firm on that front. Merlin Smurf said to this one, I'm with you 100%. If Dean does pay, it's only the beginning of a lifetime of covering for them. Jessica is obviously unhinged. Disney is the only cruise she doesn't get sick on. And before you get married, you and Dean need to be on the same page. It's not about the money, it's about the entitlement and horrific attitudes. You both need to come to an understanding. I would go no contact with Jessica and pray that they don't get married. Opie replied saying Dean and I are on the same page about not paying for Jessica. This all came to a head last night, so we're still reeling from it. It's not at all about the money. We can easily afford it. It's about the audacity. Cinnamon Girl says, I'm still stuck on, only a Disney cruise will not make them sick. Like, do they think they're making that fly? How is a Disney cruise going to make motion sickness, I'm assuming, any better than any other cruise? Your fiance really needs to speak privately about everything with his brother, because that kid doesn't even see he's with an abusive asshat. I'd certainly be telling the brother he wouldn't mind paying for him, but Jessica is never going to receive that treatment, and lists the reasons why. And one more comment which says you absolutely have to start having boundaries with these people. I don't care if it's your husband's brother. You need to start calling out Jessica's behavior every single time she does something rude. She's going to be stomping all over you forever if you don't. Don't pay for them. Let their parents pay or throw them a graduation party. Whoever even heard of going on a cruise for graduation? They're now adults. It's time to learn to pay their own way. It's also time they learn that when they bite the hand that feeds them, it slaps back, hard. It doesn't sound like your boyfriend is prepared to draw the line, but all this needs to come from him. He has to grow a backbone or be prepared to support little bro and bratty Jessica while being verbally and probably eventually physically abused. The sooner you put an end to this, the better. Hopefully it'll help Sam realize he's in an abusive relationship. So Opie did come in with her update and said, hello again, thank you so much for the comments on my last post. It's now the next morning and I would like to answer some questions that I saw in the comments and also talk about what went down after I posted the first post. Grab another snack, folks. 1. Why did you all agree a Disney cruise that Jessica demanded? Are you all spineless? Opie says the answer is that a lot of the family loves Disney. Also, when there was talk of a big celebration, we all recognized that this was the last trip we'd all be on for a while since the graduates were getting real jobs post-graduation. The celebration was going to be a farewell to young adult life as they blossomed into adulthood or whatever the fuck. There's a new Disney cruise ship that some of us have been seeing TikToks about, and the idea launched from there. 2. Why did you think that 2 broke college kids were going to be able to afford to pay for a $6,000 trip? Are you stupid? Opie says Dean, as mentioned in the previous post, loves to plan things out with as many different variations as possible. On the family trip we had taken a few months ago, where everyone had gotten sick, We were talking about payment, and Jessica had said something along the lines of, my dad would be able to throw in money as a graduation gift, so it's easier for us. I believe Jessica because recently, said father bought them a car. This is why Dean and I were so confused about how did these people think we were paying for them. I would also like to say that there was talk about Dean paying up front and Sam and Jessica paying him through payments, but these people thought that they were paying without contributions to anything. And not only that, Sam and Jessica both have jobs currently. Sure, they're fast food jobs, but I'm certain if they didn't spend money on Disney's annual pass and go there extremely often, they could save up for the trip that is a year and a half out as of this moment. 3. You're just a girlfriend. Shut up about your boyfriend's finances. OP says, I can see where a lot of people are coming from. I did use the word demand dramatically. My bad. Everyone's situations are different, of course. My boyfriend and I have had many conversations since moving in together and talking about marriage that his money is mine and my money is his. We were looking at houses to buy this last week and anything that is a major purchase we talk about together. I know this doesn't work for everyone, but it does for us. 4. Why would Dean even think about proposing on this trip? That's selfish. OP says, well, Dean called Sam. The main purpose of the call was to tell his baby brother he was getting engaged. He wanted to tell him he had found the love of his life. Proposing on the cruise was just something that was a suggestion, and Dean thought it would be romantic. When Sam said no, it was fine because Dean had other ideas. It was when Jessica messaged Dean that this whole thing went from 0 to 60. 5. Is this story AI? OP says, bro, I fucking wish this was not my life. Alright, now for what happened yesterday. On my Instagram story yesterday, I posted a few things, but amongst them was a video of SpongeBob crashing out and caption saying, I related to that yellow sponge now more than ever because bitches be crazy. Call me out for shadow posting, I don't care, I thought it was funny. Then after posting here, I was tapping through Instagram stories and Jessica's story popped up. And call it women's intuition or something, but I thought, I wonder if they still follow me. And lo and behold, they did not. I thought it was honestly very funny and showed my boyfriend immediately that Jessica was not following me anymore on my phone screen. We laughed for a bit, and I thought that if they didn't want to follow me, I wasn't going to follow them. Tit for tat, sort of idea. Reddit, when I tell you not even 30 minutes later, Sam texted Dean and asked why I'd unfollowed Jessica and had he even given more thought about paying for the trip. Jessica said that I unfollowed them first, and when Dean replied, saying that he saw this with his very own eyes. That was not true. Jessica then said that it must have been a glitch on Instagram's behalf. No one else was affected but me. I felt so insane. Are we in the middle of school again? What in the actual fuck is going on? Me, Dean, and a few of our friends thought that Jessica saw the SpongeBob meme, assumed it was about them, and instead of asking for even talking to me, they decided to unfollow me in a hissy fit. A more nefarious plot is that them unfollowing me was a trap Jessica had set for me, so when I did unfollow them back, they could run to Sam and cry wolf. I don't know if that's what happened exactly, but it's what my gut is telling me. Jessica followed me again and messaged me saying that they didn't follow me and insisted it must have been a glitch on Instagram's behalf, and then proceeded to tell me that they sent some bad blood between us and that they preferred to get out. This whole thing smells fishier than an all-you-can-eat seafood restaurant that's set up on a wharf, a fishing boat's dock, having a goddamn fish special. I didn't want to treat Jessica like how they treated Dean, and send a message while I was still heated and say something I didn't mean or something to make everyone worse, so I waited. 3 hours later, Jessica messages me again asking to talk. I was quite honestly done and felt 12 again, so I just said as nicely as I could that I just wanted to cool off before I made a heated text, but I would get back to them as soon as possible, as I was all chilled out. Jessica replied that I could call them later, but they really don't know what's wrong and why I would treat them this way. Reddit, the way my head tilted 180 degrees to the side like a goddamn owl was honestly astonishing. I've not spoken to them since December of last year, and I posted a goddamn SpongeBob meme on my story, and all of a sudden, I'm Firelord Ozai and their Prince Zuko. I'm sorry, I don't know what the actual fuck are we doing here? Google says it's Avatar The Last Airbender. Dean and I think there are two options here. A, Jessica doesn't think I know about the mammoth and plain out rude text that she sent Dean, because it had some proposal plans, so they're betting that Dean kept quiet about that part. If this is true, Dean said that Sam probably doesn't know about the text either. B. Jessica actually thinks that they are entirely in the right here, thinks the text was just fine and dandy, and believes we are the crazy ones. In this case, they probably showed Sam thinking they did nothing wrong, and Sam is going along with it. This is exhausting, and I feel like such a middle school girl right now, and such a fucking zoomer with all this social media bullshit. Either way, the cruise is cancelled, and we're planning on something else now that involves no travelling. I'll keep everyone updated. Edits, I would like to say that I know this is some zoomer bullshit, and I hate it as much as you do. I grew up with social media so I can recognize when it's being used to manipulate others. I feel gross and weird, but it's the update that I have for you all right now. And I think we already established in the first part of this one that, don't pay for the fucking Disney trip. Absolutely not. But for the rest of it, I was just like, just stop giving attention to this man. It's just not worth it. Some people absolutely thrive on this kind of thing, and it doesn't matter what you do next, something will come back at you again, and it just sounds like you're spending too much time dealing with these people. Some people just need to be like, yeah, no, I'm not dealing with this no more. When you want to have like a normal conversation or something, come back then, but I'm out of it. I'm out of here for this shit. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.